Hey there. Welcome, 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 welcome. Listen, you've prayed about it, you journaled about it, you've asked trusted people about it. Maybe you made a pros and cons list and you still haven't moved. That, my friends, is not discernment. That is what we call drift. And there is a difference. So I want to welcome you back to another episode of Ask Lady Jules. This is where we help women in transition move from freeze to faithful execution. We tell ourselves we're being thoughtful, prayerful, responsible, and that may be true. But there's another pattern that looks a lot like discernment, and it's actually just redeciding, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Should I say yes to that? Should I post this? Should I pivot? Should I launch now or should I wait? Should I rest or should I push? Should I even keep building this? And one by one, these questions feel manageable, but together they create a constant background drain. And so your brain, it keeps returning to them the way that you go back to all of those open browser tabs that you have on your computer. I know I'm not the only one. And here's what I need you to understand: the exhaustion you feel, it's not always from working too hard. It's often from loops. Open loops are draining your clarity. And a lot of women are calling that exhaustion being discerning. Being careful is not the same as being stuck. So we want to reframe this. We want to reframe this. Let me make an important distinction right now. Discernment is not panic. Discernment is not impulse, but discernment is also not endless postponement. Real discernment clarifies your next faithful step. It asks the questions: what is true here? What matters here? What is mine to do here? You see, delay asks something different. Delay asks, well, what if I just wait a little longer and certainly it just finally shows up? But here is the hard truth: certainty is not always coming. Sometimes clarity comes before movement, not before it. Sometimes the aligned decision is small, sometimes it's imperfect, sometimes it is simply the next honest step. And this matters if you are a leader, if you're a creator, a builder, if you are someone carrying responsibility for other people. Because when you don't decide, it doesn't stay neutral. Mm-mm. Unmade decisions still shape your life. They shape your team, your energy, your momentum. So no decision is still a decision. So what is the root cause? Let's look at the root cause of this. Why do we keep redeciding the same things? And here's what I see most often: you made the decision in principle, but you never made it in practice. You said, I want to protect my peace, but every new request still gets a full emotional trial. You said, I only want to build what aligns, but every new idea gets treated like an emergency. You said, I'm protecting my energy, but you're still evaluating every opportunity as if more is always better. So even though you have values, you don't yet have filters. And values without filters leave you redeciding in real time over and over again. This is where momentum dies. And it's not because you lack intelligence. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. It's not because you lack faith. It's not even because you lack ambition. You lack pre decisions because you have not yet turned your values into usable rules. And that's what we're fixing today. So I want to talk about decision filters. Decision filters. If you want to stop redeciding everything, you need to build what I call these decision filters. 3 to 5 of them. And a decision filter is a simple rule that helps you evaluate opportunities, commitments, ideas, and requests without starting from zero every single time. Now, these are not rigid laws. They are what I call alignment tools because they protect your clarity, your time, your energy, and your assignment. So here are 5 you can start with today. Filter number 1. Does this align with my current assignment? Not every good thing belongs in this season. So the question is not, is this a good opportunity? The question is, does this support what I'm actually called to build right now? Not what I built last season, not what impresses people, not what makes me look busy or relevant. What is my actual assignment in this season? And if something is genuinely good, it pulls you away from your core assignment. It may still be a no. Mhm. You see, good does not equal aligned. All right. Now, filter 2. Does this require energy that I don't actually have? And this is where wellness and business intersect and where most people go quiet because we evaluate opportunities by desire alone instead of actual capacity. So ask yourself, do I have the margin for this? In reality, not fantasy. Can I carry this without borrowing against my peace, my health, my family, my integrity? Because you do not need to say yes to something just because it is exciting. Been there, done that. If the cost is chronic depletion, the answer may need to be no. Desire is not the same as readiness. It's not the same as readiness. Now, filter 3, is this a distraction, a delay, or a real next step? 3. You see, this one is my favorite because it's the most exposing. Some opportunities are not assignments, they are avoidance with a better outfit. We obsess over the logo change, the new tool, another course, another rewrite of the plan, another framework to organize the framework. And often it's because the real next step is harder than we want it to be. So you have to ask yourself, is this truly the next step or is it helping me postpone one? And that question alone can save you months. Hmm. If this is already landing, I want you to drop the word filter in the comments right now because it tells me you're here. It tells me to keep going deeper on this kind of content. And if someone sent you this video, go ahead and subscribe. This is the kind of conversation we have every single week. All right. Now, filter 4. Does this fit my values and my decision standard? This is where your internal compass does the real work. So I want you to ask, does this reflect the kind of person I want to be and the kind of work I want to build? Does it honor my values? Does it protect people well? Does it preserve trust? Does it keep me inside my ethical red lines? Because because not every fast opportunity is a clean opportunity, and not every profitable move is an aligned move. So your filters should protect more than your schedule. They should protect your witness, your integrity, and your leadership. All right? Now, filter five. If this were easy to say no to, what would I choose? This is the one that exposes what the others cannot. Because sometimes the difficulty is not confusion, it's attachment. Because we already know the answer. We just don't like the emotional cost of choosing it. So ask yourself, if guilt, fear, image, or scarcity were removed from the room, what would alignment say? That question will tell you everything. Now, here's the most practical part, and I need you to actually do this. Don't just nod at these filters. I want you to write them down. Your filters, your language, your season. Use them for invitations, collaborations, content decisions, business opportunities, commitments that keep trying to sneak back in through the side door. And once a filter has helped you decide, stop reopening the case unless something truly changed. Because this is where peace grows. You do not need an internal trial every time the same kind of issue appears. So build the filter, use the filter, honor the filter. That is how you stop leaking energy. Mm, yeah. I want to close this out with something I don't want you to miss. This is not a productivity hack. This is a posture. Faith. Decision filters help you live from conviction instead of constant inner confusion. You stop seeking a sign for things you've already been given clarity on. In the area of wellness, the decision filters reduce the mental overload and protect your nervous system from unnecessary churn. Your body was not designed to hold every open question indefinitely. And when it comes to systems and AI, they help you use tools wisely instead of letting every new option become another source of overwhelm. Tools should support your discernment, they should never replace it. And for those of you in business or ministry, decision filters create consistency, speed, and sustainable leadership. And that's because you stop rebuilding your standards from scratch every single week. And this is how aligned systems are built, not by reacting to everything, but by deciding from grounded principles. So here's the truth I want to leave you with: discernment should not leave you in permanent suspense. It should help you recognize what matters, what aligns, and what needs your yes or your no. Because discernment that never decides is drift. And drift feels subtle at first, but over time, it costs clarity, energy, momentum, and it often costs peace. So here's your next step. And I mean one step. Choose one area where you keep redeciding the same thing. Write down the filter that would have closed that case 6 months ago, and then close it. Now, if you want help doing this kind of work, let's work together. We have our season shift. It's a focused private space where we start this process. It's 90 minutes, it's one on one. We identify what's keeping you in the loop. We build the clarity structure that you need, and we map the next faithful move. The link is in the description. And if this video gave you something, share it with one woman who has been sitting in the same decision longer than she should be because she needs to stop too. Thank you so much for tuning in to our video for today. I look forward to being back with you on next week. Blessings. If this question reflects your current leadership season, pause and notice your response. Nothing is wrong with you. This points to capacity, not character. This is the work I support inside my private DDB breakthrough coaching cohorts. Structural support and sustainable change. If this pattern keeps repeating, deeper support matters. Thank you for spending this time with me. We rebuild first, then we rise.